Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something really cool: how to take a simple digital collectible and turn it into a living asset that actually reacts to the real world. So let's just jump right in. I want you to think about this for a second. What if a digital token wasn't just some static picture on your screen? What if it was something that knew its own location, its current condition, even its history? That's the big idea we're really digging into today: NFTs that are truly, and I mean truly, dynamic. Okay, so let's break this down. Over on the left, you've got your standard NFT. It's basically a digital receipt, right? It just proves you own a specific image. But look at the right. This is a whole different beast. A dynamic NFT is hooked into live data feeds. It knows its GPS coordinates, its temperature, even its custom status. It's not just a receipt anymore. It's a true digital twin of a real-world object. Now, to really wrap our heads around how this all works, we're going to follow the journey of a single asset. We're going to see how we can take something as ordinary as a shipping container and give it its own digital life, making it genuinely smart. So, the hero of our story today is a smart shipping container. And the very first thing it needs is a unique identity, something nobody can fake or tamper with. We're going to give it what we'll call a digital passport. And you guessed it, this digital passport is actually an NFT. Now, to get a little technical for just a second, it's an ERC 721 token. That's just the gold standard for creating one-of-a-kind digital items, like a unique piece of art. So this isn't just some random number in a database. It is a globally unique, totally tamper-proof ID that's going to stick with our container for its entire life. Of course, this digital passport needs a super safe place to live, and that's where the blockchain comes in. In our case, we're using Hyperledger Besu, and you can just think of it as a shared, unbreakable captain's log. Every single time our container changes hands or gets an update, it's recorded in this log for the whole network to see. Now, for a system like this to actually work in the business world, you just can't have do-overs. Every single entry in that log has to be permanent. Besu makes sure of this with a feature called immediate finality. And in plain English, that just means once a piece of information is recorded, it is set in stone, period. It cannot be changed or reversed, and that's exactly what makes this digital logbook so trustworthy. So, we've got a secure passport and an unbreakable logbook. Awesome. But there's a huge problem. Our blockchain is totally, completely isolated from the real world. It's incredibly secure, but because of that, it's also blind and deaf. This is a really fundamental challenge in the blockchain world, and it has a name: the Oracle problem. You see, blockchains are designed to be these perfect, closed-off systems. Every computer in the network has to get the exact same result every time. If they could just go and pull data from the internet willy-nilly, they'd all get slightly different answers and the whole system would just fall apart. So how do we solve this? Well, the solution is a piece of tech called an oracle. As you can see here, oracles are basically a secure bridge between our isolated blockchain and the messy outside world. They are the blockchain's senses, its eyes and ears. They listen for requests from the digital passport, go out and fetch data from a GPS sensor or a thermometer, and then securely deliver that information back in a way the whole network can agree on and trust. Okay, let's take stock. Our container has its passport, that's the NFT, it lives in a secure logbook, the Besu blockchain, and it has senses to perceive the world, the oracles. Now it just needs one more thing: a brain to coordinate it all. And this is where Hyperledger FireFly enters the picture. Think of FireFly as the mission control for this whole operation. It's the orchestration layer that acts as the command center. It doesn't just talk to the blockchain, it manages all the different moving parts: the off-chain data, the events, the communication between everybody involved. It's really the logistics brain for our entire setup. But hang on, here's a really practical problem. Real-world assets come with tons of data, right? Legal documents, high-res photos, inspection reports. Trying to store a 20-page PDF directly on a blockchain would be ridiculously expensive, maybe even impossible. So, how in the world do you link all that rich information to our little NFT passport? Well, the answer is this really clever technique called hash pinning, and it's all managed by FireFly. Here's how it works. First, you upload the big file. Then, FireFly calculates its unique digital fingerprint, which is called a hash. This hash is just a tiny little string of text. You then take that tiny fingerprint and record only that on the blockchain, pinning it to the NFT. Meanwhile, the actual file is shared securely off-chain. This creates a completely unbreakable cryptographic link between the token on the chain and all its data off the chain. Pretty smart, right? All right, let's put all these pieces together now. We're going to follow our smart container all the way from the factory floor to its final delivery, and we'll see exactly how this dynamic system works out in the wild. So let's walk through this journey. First, at the factory, the NFT passport is minted, and it's digitally pinned to its bill of lading using that hash pinning trick we just talked about. Then, while the container's on the move, a smart contract automatically requests a temperature check, to make sure the cargo's safe. This is where the oracle kicks in. It detects that request, grabs the live data from the container's IoT sensor, and securely sends it to the blockchain. Instantly, the NFT's data gets updated with the new temperature, creating this permanent, totally auditable record. And finally, once it's delivered safely, the entire NFT passport, with its complete, verifiable history, is transferred to the buyer, proving the chain of custody from beginning to end. Now, it is so important to zoom out for a second and see that this is so much bigger than just tracking shipping containers. This entire pattern, a unique digital identity, linked to real-world data, all managed by an orchestration brain like FireFly, this can be applied almost anywhere. I mean, just think about it. Imagine automating payments in trade finance the very second a package's GPS confirms it's been delivered. Or what about a professional license that automatically updates itself with your new certifications? Or a property title that reflects inspection results in real time, so everyone has full transparency. The possibilities are everywhere, from verifying the ethical sourcing of raw materials to managing digital art that actually changes with the weather. When you boil it all down, what we've really been building here is a bridge. It's a bridge that connects the absolute mathematical trust of a blockchain with a messy, always changing reality of our physical world. It lets us build systems that don't just record what happened in the past, but are actively and automatically managing a single source of truth in the present. And that really leads us to the final question. When we can create these living digital twins for almost any asset and have them interact with the real world in a way we can all trust, what new kinds of businesses, services, and interactions truly become possible? That's the future this technology is building right now.